Hello my dear girls and boys, a very warm good afternoon to all of you, and thank you very much for staying tuned to HashLearn. But so far I can't see anyone connected, so if you are there, please let me know by the chat segment. And I know, yes, this is a festive season, so you must be busy a little bit, so no issues, you can watch this anytime you want, it will be available to you. So now to begin with, the topic of discussion for today is going to be the macro and micronutrient, and this is a new chapter. So in the previous class we were talking about transportation in plants. The last topic of discussion was phloem transport, so that is the recap on your screen. Okay, so what we have discussed, the uptake of mineral ions. Okay, uptake of minerals, just give me a second. Yeah, so control of mineral ions, that uptake of mineral ions, that is what we have discussed, how the mineral ions are taken inside the cell, and we know that it follows the pathway of the water, like in the xylem itself. Along with the water, these minerals are transported to all other parts of the plant from root. Now translocation of mineral nutrients, that means movement, so from one place to the other. So in that case we have discussed, it can be apoplast or symplast. Along with the water itself it moves, but at the site of the endodermis where we have the Casparian strip, there whether it's water, mineral, it has to go for symplastic pathway. Now next is, we have discussed the evidences to support that translocation occurs through phloem, the girdling experiment. Okay, translocation of sugars occurs through the phloem, and for that we have discussed the girdling experiment. So we remove all the tissue outer to vascular cambium, so that includes the phloem part, and in that case we have observed that the part where the plant is cut, the lower part becomes little swollen. Okay, and in phloem the maximum amount will be the water and the sucrose. Now we have the mechanism of phloem translocation, that is what we have discussed. So the most accepted hypothesis for that was source sink hypothesis. Okay, so be very clear about that. And now on your screen is the previous class CPP question, or the question where most of you have gone wrong. It's question number 8. It's a very sweet, simple and innocent question. So phloem sap is mainly, so you have to identify what should be there in the phloem sap. So but most of you have opted for B, so that is sucrose and amino acid. So how come, dear? Whenever we talk about cell sap or phloem sap, look for the option where you have water. So had you opted for water and hormones, still acceptable, but when it comes to hormones and sucrose, hormones concentration in a plant body or in an animal body will always be less. Okay, so for that reason, even if you go for like just odd one out or cancel out the effects, you will end up with D only, because hormones amount will be very less, and we are talking about the major composition of the phloem. So even if you do not know it perfectly, you can answer this just if you apply your brain. Okay, so don't be in hurry burry, because this is a small question. You can solve it just whatever you have read on the basis of that. Now on your screen is the goals for today's class. So what are we going to discuss today? So since today is a new chapter beginning, so we are going to discuss about the hydroponics, criteria for essentiality, that means what makes a mineral or a nutrition that it is essential for plant. If we have to say for example, when we say carbon, so that's an essential element. So what will be the criteria on which we say that it is an essential element or a nutrient? Then we will be looking into the role of the nutrients. Deficiency we will be discussing in the next class, that is on Saturday. So hydroponics, it was given by Julius von Sachs. Okay, and hydroponics is the technique of growing plants in nutrient solution in complete absence of soil. Okay, so that means we are going to grow the plant in a solution or in a nutrient rich solution, and there the soil component will be absent, as we have the traditional way that we grow the plants in the soil only. Now in this method is used to determine the nutrients essential for plants. Now how that is used, that I'll discuss little later. In this method, plant is cultured in soil free defined mineral solution. Okay, so you do not have soil in the solution, you just have the nutrients. So from soil, what does the plant requires? Water and nutrients. So that component we will give the plant and the plant can grow. This method requires purified water and mineral nutrients, nothing more than that. So you have the nutrients and then you have the water, supply to the plant and the plant will grow. And then essential elements are identified and their deficiency symptoms are discovered by hydroponics method. It is also used for commercial production of vegetables like tomato and cucumber. Now what exactly it is? See, here you have a diagram. So this is a nutrient solution. So in this we just have the water and mineral. Fine. And then this is used, the aerating tube is used to stir that so that the solution remains aerated, because the root needs air to breathe. Excuse me. So, and then funnel for adding water and nutrients. So with this help of this funnel, we will keep on adding the nutrients, because as the plant is growing, it will take up the nutrients. So obviously after some time, this nutrient or this solution will become nutrient or poor in nutrients. So because of that, and then this root can take up these nutrients and it will grow. Now the last point was this method is used to identify the deficiency symptom also. So how it is done? In this case, suppose we will take more than 1 or 2 setup, okay, and in each of them you have the plant. And now the nutrient solution which is there we will make one of the solution less, like all the other nutrient will be there, but say for example minus phosphorus. So only phosphorus is not there. So whatever impact this solution will have on the plant, okay, we will have one control will always be there, we will have, in which we will have all the nutrients. So in one pot we have all the nutrients, so we know that how the plant will grow with all the nutrients. But with all nutrient except a few, if these are not given, say for example, so by this way we can identify that what impact it will give on plant, and then we can also infer that where and all these element is required in the plant, okay. So that's how deficiency of a particular mineral or function of a particular mineral in plant is identified with the help of hydroponics method, okay. Other than this, even like if we talk about the nutrients, so what are the nutrients present in a plant? For that we have, that is called plant analysis. This hydroponic is comes under plant analysis only. So in that there is another technique that is called ash analysis, okay, ash analysis. So in case of ash analysis, what we do is the plant is subjected to high temperature, like some 550 to around 600 degrees Celsius. So this temperature is pretty high, we know that, okay. Our normal body temperature is approximately 37 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So any tissue subjected to this high temperature will get reduced to ashes only. So that plant component which is there, that also gets reduced to ash, and after that we or that gives us the dry weight for the minerals, and then we check for the presence of particular mineral in that ash, and it is found that there are around 30 elements, okay, 92 mineral elements, out of which 32 elements are present in each and every plant, and out of these 30 again some 16 are the essential elements, and now it is not 16 but 17, okay, because nickel is also added when this must have been done. So we have these many essential. Now we will discuss about what do we mean by essential and what is the criteria for essentiality. So that is one technique. Other than hydroponic, we have sand culture also. So in case of sand culture, what we take is sand, and this sand will be inert sand. Okay, so you have the inert sand plus the nutrient solution. Okay, so inert sand plus the nutrient solution. So it is more or less similar to this only, the hydroponics. So in that case also, with the help of this nutrient solution only, the growth of the plant is monitored. Other than that, these days we also practice something called aeroponics. Aeroponics. So in case of aeroponics, the plant is grown in the, or the roots specifically, the roots are bathed in nutrient mist. Okay, so not in solution form. So roots are bathed in nutrient mist, and from there the plants will take up the nutrients and it will grow, and this is used for growing citrus and olives. Okay, so citrus plants and olives, this technique we are already using. So these are the ways by which we do the plant analysis. That means to how do we determine the impact of a nutrient on the plant. And then we have the criteria for essentiality. So how we can say no, this particular element or this particular nutrient is essential for the plant. So first point is absolutely necessary for completion of life cycle of a plant. Okay, so this is important. That means that particular nutrient which we are talking about, without that the plant should not be able to grow and reproduce. Obviously any element which is essential, it will show an impact on some of the essential life processes, and overall it will impact the growth and reproduction of the plant. So that will make it as an that will make it an essential nutrient. Now second point, its requirement is specific and not replaceable by any other element. Like when we talk about glucose, it is glucose only, C6H12O6, fine. We cannot replace carbon there with aluminium, or you cannot replace the oxygen there with any other element like nitrogen. When it is there, that means that is required. Okay, when we talk about photosynthesis, carbon dioxide will be required. So in that form it is required, means required. You cannot replace it with any other nutrient so that iske badle ye kar dega. No. Sometimes it happens though in school, when the teacher is not there in the class, you will get substitution classes. Okay, but in case of criteria for essentiality, mineral nutrients are irreplaceable. Their job cannot be done by any other nutrient. Now third point is directly involved in the metabolism of the plant, whether it is any kind of biochemical reaction or anything, it has to be involved in the metabolism of the plant, and that is why it becomes irreplaceable only, and that is why it is an important thing to complete the life cycle of the plant. I hope it's clear. Now we are into the macro. So these essential elements are divided or classified into two groups, that is micro and macronutrient. Okay, so as the name itself suggests, macro, and then we have the micro also. So macronutrients will be the nutrients which are required in large amount. Okay, so nutrients which are required by plants in larger amount, generally present in the plant tissues in concentrations of 1 to 10 mg per gram of dry matter. Okay, so that is mg. If we go for millimoles, then it will be more than that. Okay, that's why I was like 10 mg, because for micronutrients, when we talk about in terms of millimoles, it is less than 10 mg in case of micronutrients, not macronutrients. Hello Aman, and how are you? And thank you very much for joining in. So macronutrients which are required in larger quantity, that means micronutrients are required in a large amount by the plant, and these are actually the micronutrients, the elements which are visible in bold. So these are carbon, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium and magnesium. It's okay, Aman, but there should be double R in sorry. Otherwise, it becomes Suri. I'm not here to make fun of you. I just noticed that, and I'm also fine. And thank you very much for asking. And wish you happy Durga Puja. So, doesn't matter. I know there must have been some reason because of which you didn't attend it, but the Monday's class is available in the form of a recorded session, so you can watch it anytime you want. Okay, but don't miss the things. Okay, and be focused and continuous. So these are the macronutrients: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium. So how to remember that? So you can remember it in a simple way, like NPK and 3 other nutrients are called mega super. So why I am saying this? When it becomes are called mega super, okay, I'll write it below for the other one. So here you have nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and then Ca is for calcium, Mg is for magnesium, and Su is for, like, only S is for the sulfur. Fine. So 6 of them you can remember, and then comes the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. You can just remember it like that. Okay, that carbon, hydrogen and oxygen will be the highest one, and other than the other 6 are NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Then you have the calcium, magnesium and sulfur. So these are the macronutrients. Now when we talk about micronutrients, so these are the minor elements or trace elements. That means these are essential, but they are required in a smaller quantity. Thank you, Aman, for wishing. Now nutrients which are required by plants in very small amount or in traces, that is equal to or less than 0.1 mg per gram of dry matter. Okay, so that is really less. And the micronutrients include iron, manganese. So don't get confused between magnesium and manganese. Magnesium is a component of chlorophyll. In that way you can remember that it has to be a part of macronutrient in case of plants. So the micronutrients include iron, manganese, copper, molybdenum, zinc, boron and chlorine. So that you can remember it with like Feb, morning, common, Nick, join class. Okay, so in this Fe is for iron, B is for boron, Mo is for molybdenum, and then common word has actually come from this CuMn. So Cu is copper, okay, and then Mn is the manganese, and then Ni is for nickel, zinc, and Cl you have the chlorine. So that way you can remember the micro and macronutrient, because these elements keep on confusing the people that where it should be micro and macro. That is why I have taken a little extra time to say that you should remember it, because this is what will be needed in this entire chapter and even while solving the questions. Okay. So recent research has shown that some elements such as cobalt, vanadium and nickel may be essential for certain plants. Okay. So this list which is on your screen, it was actually given by D.W. Rain in 1976, and this was based on the ash analysis or dry matter analysis of Stout. This is the name of the person, and he gave this in 1961. So this is the list, like the list of elements and what is their percentage in dry weight. Okay, so you can see here, these three are on the highest, and carbon and oxygen, they are altogether different, because see, the organic component which is there, any organic molecule, the moment we say it has to be carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, and that is why they will be on the majority, and then slowly it goes down. So from here what you need to just remember is the which one is the highest, which one is the lowest, that's it, okay, and not more than that. Now we are into the role of nutrients. So what role do they play? So today we will be discussing just the role of the nutrients, and in the coming classes we will discuss about the deficiency of these nutrients and also the nitrogen fixation. So first element to discuss is nitrogen. So nitrogen required by plants in greatest amount, that is one of the macronutrients, and it is absorbed by plants as nitrite, nitrate or ammonia, and it is NO3 minus, okay. This is the form in which the nitrogen will be absorbed by the form maximally. In some cases only these are the forms in which the plant will absorb the nitrogen, and it is one of the major constituents of proteins, nucleic acids and vitamins, okay. Even the chlorophyll molecule, which is very, very important for the plant, that has 4 nitrogen in it, okay. The chlorophyll structure we have, I'll show you in today's class itself. So nitrogen is required for that also, so that is why it is very, very important, okay. And now the next one is the phosphorus. So it is absorbed by plants from the soil in the form of phosphate ions. So it can be either in the form of H2PO4 minus, or it can be in the form of HPO4 2 minus, okay. So this will be there when pH of the soil is low, okay. So in that case, when pH is low, this is the form of phosphate in which it is absorbed. If pH is high, that is the form of the phosphate in which the plants will absorb the phosphorus, okay. And when we talk about functions, all nucleic acids and nucleotides require phosphorus, and it is the main constituent of cell membrane. So cell membrane structure, if you remember, we have said it is phospholipid bilayer. So obviously phosphorus will be a major component of that, phospholipid. And then nucleic acids and nucleotide structure also. Okay, Aman. So all nucleic acids which are there, whether we talk about DNA or RNA, हम DNA की बात करें या RNA की बात करें, in its backbone, उसका जो basic backbone structure है, there we have the sugar phosphate backbone, okay. So वहाँ पर भी phosphorus will be required, and that is why it becomes an essential macronutrient, ठीक है. And like see, all the phosphorylase or reactions which are there, like in glycolysis, okay, we have conversion of glucose to glucose 6 phosphate. That means glucose से glucose 6 phosphate जब बनेगा तो phosphate will be added, ठीक है. So there also you are needing phosphorus, and these are the sum total why phosphorus is a macronutrient. Next is potassium, ठीक है. So it is absorbed as potassium ion. So ये किस form में absorb होता है soil से? As a potassium ion, that is K+, and it helps to maintain cation anion balance in the cells. It is involved in protein synthesis, opening and closing of stomata. And for phosphorus, phosphorus के लिए एक बात याद रखना कि it is a micronutrient which is not being a constituent of any metabolic important compound. जैसे देखो, when we talk about phosphorus, phosphorus क्या है? DNA में है. नाइट्रोजन क्या है? क्लोरोफिल में भी मिलेगा और अलग प्रोटीन्स में भी मिलेगा. बट पोटेशियम ही एक ऐसा है which is not a part of any molecule, ठीक है, और metabolically active molecule, but this ion is very, very important for maintaining the cation anion balance, and it is involved in protein synthesis. यहाँ पर भी ये लगेगा, ओपनिंग एंड क्लोजिंग ऑफ स्टोमाटा, उसका जो मोस्ट एक्सेप्टेड हाइपोथेसिस है दैट इज द पोटेशियम आयन कॉन्सेंट्रेशन हाइपोथेसिस. दैट वन इज द मोस्ट एक्सेप्टेड हाइपोथेसिस एंड पोटेशियम आयन plays a major role in opening and closing of stomata. Fine. So that is why potassium is a macronutrient again, but that is the only macronutrient which is not part of any important compound, that is metabolically important compound. Next is calcium. It is absorbed by plants from the soil in the form of calcium ions itself, okay, or it is calcium carbonate, the form in which it is found in soil, and from there it will be absorbed, used in synthesis of cell wall. ये cell wall में होता है in the form of calcium pectate. Okay, so calcium pectate and magnesium pectates are actually the components of middle lamella of cell wall. ठीक है, cell wall में कहाँ पर, तो middle lamella में calcium pectate is used and it activates certain enzymes, so it plays a role in regulating the biochemical reactions in case of plants. Okay, like for example it acts as activator of several enzymes like ATPase. Okay, उसका activator के जैसे calcium works. Now magnesium, ठीक है, so you can see the most important function of magnesium is in chlorophyll. Chlorophyll नहीं है तो plant नहीं है. Fine. So because of that magnesium is very important, and magnesium ions are absorbed in the form of Mg2 plus ion. Okay, and it activates the enzymes of respiration, photosynthesis, and it is involved in the synthesis of DNA and RNA also. ठीक है, DNA और RNA की synthesis में भी involved है. How and when, this is there in standard 12th. Okay, just in case you are interested in knowing, you can go and watch the video of standard 12 where I have discussed about the replication and transcription if you want to, or if you are very curious. And it is constituent of chlorophyll. This is very important for the plant, and this structure which is there on your screen, it is the chemical structure for chlorophyll. So here you basically you focus on this area. So you have the magnesium in the center to which the nitrogen atoms are attached. Fine. So it has a chain and then a ring structure for which it is there in the plant. Other than this, it is also a part of middle lamella of cell wall in the form of what? Magnesium pectate. ठीक है, ये मैग्नीशियम पेक्टेट के फॉर्म में भी रहता है. कहाँ पे? मिडिल लैमेला. सो व्हाट इज दैट मिडिल लैमेला? इन केस ऑफ सिम्प्लास्ट पाथवे वी हैव डिस्कस मिडिल लैमेला इज एक्चुअली द कनेक्शन बिटवीन और डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन ऑफ साइटोप्लाज्म बिटवीन टू सेल्स. ओके, एंड दैट इज फॉर्म ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ सेल डिवीजन इटसेल्फ, सेल प्लेट जब फॉर्म होता है. फाइन. So from there only it comes, and magnesium pectate and calcium pectates are an important component of middle lamella. Now on your screen is the question from previous class or the previous class contest question. The question which I asked was rate of transpiration will be less. Transpiration less कहाँ होगा और कब होगा? The A, ground water is sufficiently available. अगर ग्राउंड वाटर सफिशिएंटली अवेलेबल है तो ट्रांसपिरेशन विल बी मोर. विंड इज ब्लोइंग, ट्रांसपिरेशन विल बी मोर. ओके, और आई विल जस्ट डिनोट इट विथ एन अपवर्ड एरो. एनवायरमेंट इज वेरी हॉट एंड ड्राई, बहुत हॉट और ड्राई है फिर भी ट्रांसपिरेशन होगा. व्हेन द एनवायरमेंट इज वेरी हॉट एंड ड्राई यू आल्सो स्वेट. So why the plant will not? So this also will be high. So the correct answer is relative humidity is very high, because if humidity is very high it will stop transpiration and not promote transpiration. ठीक है, वो transpiration को hinder करेगा और inhibit करेगा, promote नहीं करेगा, and that is why this is the correct answer. And the person who won this contest is M. Joshna. So a big round of applause for Joshna, and congratulations Joshna. You will get your free atom session credited by the end of this class. And now today's contest question will come on your screen, and Aman, if you are there, please try attempting the question, and all those who are listening but not responding. So please answer this question. How many nitrogen atoms are present in a molecule of chlorophyll A? Chlorophyll A के एक molecule में कितने nitrogen atom होंगे? I can give you a hint. Forget about chlorophyll A or B. Just think. I have just shown you the structure. So उसमें कितने So Aman, are you there? What I can see on my screen is the last comment of yours to explain in both the languages. Okay, so why didn't you try the contest question? उसका आंसर क्यों नहीं किए? You should take an attempt, dear. सही होगा गलत होगा उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Nobody is here to judge you. You should give an attempt. Question skip करने की आदत नहीं रखनी चाहिए, ठीक है? Now, the next component that is sulfur, मेगा सुपर का लास्ट component. अभी अभी मैंने क्लोरोफिल का स्ट्रक्चर दिखाया था, तो इन दैट उसमें कितनी नाइट्रोजन थी, कुछ भी डाल देते. मैग्नीशियम से कितने नाइट्रोजन अटैच थे. सो नाउ सल्फर, प्लांट्स ऑब्टेन सल्फर इन द फॉर्म ऑफ सल्फेट. सो किस फॉर्म में दे विल एब्जॉर्ब इट फ्रॉम द सॉइल? इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ सल्फेट प्रेजेंट in amino acids, and this is found in amino acids like cysteine and methionine. तो ठीक है, cysteine और methionine ऐसे amino acids हैं जिनमें सल्फर पाया जाता है, not in all amino acids. Next is and is a main constituent of coenzymes and vitamins. So coenzymes और vitamins का भी this is a main constituent, and also like some plants, the pungent smell of garlic, okay, it is because of the sulfur present in that, or in onion also it's the sulfur. Oh, that's okay Aman, no need to be sorry, I'm just encouraging you. मैं बस इतना बोल रही हूँ कि कोशिश करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती है. उसके बाद सही गलत तो हो ही सकता है. Even I have done many mistakes when I was a kid or a student. So I have done mistakes. So उसमें कोई भी problem नहीं है. That's fine. But don't be so much sorry. It's okay. Now, next component is iron. So obtained in the form of Fe3 plus ion, or ferrous B, Fe2 plus can also be there, and it is an important constituent of proteins involved in transport system. ठीक है, जो transport system है उसका एक important component है. Had it been a human body, iron would have been very very important for hemoglobin. कहाँ पे होगा? hemoglobin में, क्योंकि hemoglobin में iron होता है. We need iron for the proper synthesis of hemoglobin, but in case of this it will be in the only in the transport protein, because plant में क्या है, उनको क्या चाहिए? Maximally they need just the this component magnesium for chlorophyll. Okay, next is manganese. It is absorbed in the form of, so see in all these, in सभी में क्या याद रखना है? In which form it is absorbed, where it is found, and if there is a specific function of it. ठीक है, because these functions will be related to the deficiency. Say for example, if I say deficiency of magnesium, so obviously it will impact the chlorophyll synthesis, so the leaves will start becoming yellow. ठीक है, so if you remember the roles correctly, it has to be what? It has to be the same correlation with the deficiency disease, and that's why you will remember the deficiency diseases which we are going to discuss in the next class more easily if you learn the functions of the nutrients in first place. So manganese is absorbed in the form of Mn2 plus, Mn is the symbol for manganese, and main function is splitting of water to liberate hydrogen during photosynthesis. This is very important. So this splitting of water is also known as photolysis of water. So in photosynthesis we will see that the oxygen which is evolved during photosynthesis, okay, it's generally when we write the equation, it seems that the oxygen is coming from where? It is coming from the carbon dioxide, but in practical or in reality this oxygen comes from the water molecule, and in breakdown of this water molecule magnesium plays an important role. Okay, so that is why any deficiency of magnesium will lead to the decrease in rate of photosynthesis. Then we have the next element, that is zinc, and it occurs in the soil in the form of ferromagnesia minerals. Okay, and it is obtained from there in the form of Zn2 plus ions, and what is the function? It activates enzyme like carboxylases, and it is needed for the formation of this hormone. Okay, and auxin is very very important for growth of plant. ठीक है, even the shoot bent or coleoptile bending towards the light, वो जो experiment था where you have the phototropism, positive phototropism, class 10th में होगा, you must have studied it in whichever board you were. So उसमें क्या है कि it's the auxin only which plays an important role of bending the plants towards the sunlight. ठीक है, and when we will talk about the plant growth, it's a very very important growth hormone for plants, auxins. Then next is copper. It is absorbed in the form of cupric ions, that is Cu2 plus, and it is involved in various metabolic activities and redox reactions. So metabolic reactions के लिए copper is important. And then we have the boron. Boron is absorbed as BO3 3 minus, that is the charge, or B4O7 2 minus. So these two ionic states you should remember, and it is required for uptake of calcium. So even though it's a micronutrient, it becomes important. Why? Because it is necessary for absorption of what? Absorption of calcium, which is a macronutrient. Cell elongation and protein germination, or sorry, pollen germination. How come protein will germinate? Sorry. So pollen germination. Pollen germination means pollen tube formation, not germination of seed I am talking about. Okay. Then last thing is chlorine. It is absorbed in the form of Cl minus ions. किस form में ये absorb हो रहा है? In the form of chloride ions, and it determines the solute concentration and splitting of water during photosynthesis. So there even this gentleman will work. Okay, and it is required in tobacco. It increases the water volume inside the cell and regulates carbohydrate metabolism as well. So this is the function of chlorine, कि it in tobacco plants it increases the water volume. So this is the overall role of all the nutrients. Aman, in case you have any question, you can ask. Now with this we have come to the summary of the class. So what we have discussed in today's class. So we have discussed the analysis method, that is hydroponics. In that we have discussed the ash analysis method, okay, and also the aeroponics, what is aeroponics, and then the criteria for essentiality, like what are the criteria. So the criteria should be, I'll repeat, it should be important enough that the plant cannot complete its life cycle, plant का life cycle complete नहीं होगा उस element के बिना. It should be a part of the important chemical reactions or metabolic reactions का वो important part होना चाहिए. And third point is that it should be irreplaceable. उस element को कोई दूसरा nutrient replace नहीं कर सकता है. Then in that case it will be essential. Like for me, I am here. If something happens to me, there will be another bioteachers to replace me. So I am not an essential criteria for this room. Okay, I am a criteria needed but not essential. Then macro and micronutrients का difference क्या है? What are macronutrients? What are micronutrients? So the quantity, okay, in mg we have discussed. You will have it in even in millimoles. Fine. So वो जो quantity है to which it becomes macronutrient or micronutrient, that quantity you should remember, and also the list of micro and macronutrients. So there are some 17 nutrients. ठीक है. And then role of nutrients, this is what we have discussed in today's class. And now with this we have come to the end of class. So thank you for joining in, and thank you Aman for responding. Because of you I was feeling like it is a class, or else it was simply like teaching to the camera. And now you will get the CPP questions, that is class practice pack. So there are questions based on what I have discussed. So remember, if you are targeting NEET, it is very very important. Or forget about NEET, not forget, any competitive exam you take, okay, A, B, C to X, Y, Z, any competitive exam if you take, question solving is a mandatory step. You cannot skip that step. If you are skipping that step, you are skipping the probability of yours of clearing that particular exam. So even if it is board exams, please solve your questions, whether it is subjective or objectives. On this note, I take your leave. and see you again on Saturday with the same face, same time, same topic, not same topic, different topic. And till then, passport users, start solving the question right away. Good luck.